Hello, it's Dawn, and this is my podcast, Dawnversations. It's a variety show about real life stuff, and there's something on here for everybody. So if that sounds good to you, let's go. Welcome to another episode of Dawnversations. Today we have Valerie. Welcome, Valerie. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so Valerie is the owner of the Yellowcake Shop, and you guys specialize in luxury clothing. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say, luxury for me is always such a tricky word because when I think of luxury, I think of Versace and dripping in diamonds. But I will say we definitely are a premium compared to, regular, you know, bargain basement, H&M, Target shopping. So yeah, we're definitely a handmade premium, and we really pride ourselves in the craftsmanship of our work.
Right. So it's more custom, right?
Yes and no. I mean, we have a lot of pieces that we do that are, they're we call them ready to wear, quote unquote. So we have, a set of patterns that we've worked on over the last, decade and a half, and we've tested the fit, and we know that they sell well, and our clients love the style. But then we also do a lot of custom and bespoke work. So we have clients that come to us with, an idea for a garment that they want to wear for their 60th birthday party, or something that they want to have done for a special gift for their mom, or maybe they are coming to us for their wedding dress or their bridal party dress. So we kind of do a little bit of everything in that arena for women's wear.
That's awesome. So that's basically like people could just come in and give measurements and stuff and just say, this is kind of what we're thinking. And then you guys create it.
Yeah, something like that. Typically, they'll come to us with an idea. We get an idea what their budget is. We ask them for reference photos. I think a lot of people think there's a difference between a designer and a seamstress, right? So a seamstress is someone where you can go, hey, I want this. I saw it in a magazine. Can you make it? And they'll say yes or no. But we can't do that because, we're not going to plagiarize someone else's work. We're also a design team. So people that know our work, they want us to make them something because they like our aesthetic. And if they see something that's an inspiration for them, we can take that inspiration and we can marry their inspiration with our design sense and aesthetic and make something that's, perfect for them. So we'll take their measurements, we'll collaborate with them on a drawing and an idea, and then we'll do fittings, we'll source the fabric, we'll make the garment, and that's how it goes.
That is so awesome. I just was shopping with my husband last weekend, and I told him, I said, I don't think the clothes that I'm looking for have either been invented yet, or maybe they just are and not in any of the stores that I'm looking at. I don't think that I'm super picky, but when you go to a lot of stores, it's all kind of catered towards the same age range, or I don't even know what. There's not a lot of variety for certain age groups. I guess I'll say it
Sure.
that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just depends on the region you're in and what's available to you. So I think that's also a challenge for a lot of women. It depends on where they live, what their budget is, what's the area they live in, where because fashion overall, it gets to different parts of the country at different times. So obviously in the East Coast, Upper East Coast, New York, they're kind of, New York, California, they're kind of privy to the trends and new innovations and things that are interesting and different in fashion before anyone else in America.
Right.
South, they're getting things years behind everyone else. And so that's why, if you want to try to be fashionable or look for trends or look for things that are innovative, you don't want to shop in Texas.
Would you guys say, are you guys trendy at all, or do you try and stay very classic?
Yeah, for us, our whole motto and mantra is really sticking to things that are timeless, staple items, things that are classic, that we know are, we'll be able to buck the trends, things that aren't going to go out of style next year. We don't do cutouts, we don't do neon, we don't do, I don't know, whatever it is that millennial or Gen Z Instagram influencers are promoting. That's not really what we're about. We're really about creating garments that we know will make women look and feel their best, but that they'll also be able to wear for as many years as possible, because we're not about perpetuating this idea that fashion is meant to be a flash in the pan kind of situation. We don't want it to be something that you're wearing today and tomorrow and maybe next week, and then it's going to be in the trash or on Poshmark, next month. We want to be, because we know that the pieces we make they're premium, right? It's an investment sometimes for some people. And we want these pieces to last the wearer as long as possible, because we want it to be better for the planet, pocketbook. And we also want it to be, something that's going to bring them joy for as much as possible.
Right. So what exactly is slow fashion?
Oh, that's a really great question. And, I think slow fashion is something that most independent designers think most people know about, but it's really kind of a mystery to a lot of people. Um, Slow fashion and fast fashion are they're in the same family, but they're estranged, right? They're cousins that don't get along. And so, fast fashion is, the popular rich bitch bossy girl in, a 90s rom-com, right? And slow fashion is, the quiet, meek, nerdy girl that gets a glow up in the middle of the movie, right? And so, yeah, slow fashion is the process of creating clothing and fashion for a consumer to use for as long as possible. Typically, it's built to last a lifetime if it can be used a lifetime. But slow fashion is also used with the intention of being built with responsible, ethical practices in mind, right? So the person that's making the garment is paid a fair living wage. The people that are creating the pieces and providing the services are given the best quality of life possible. The textiles and the materials used to make the garment are thoughtful. They don't have to be, linen or organic materials that are made by blind nuns in Italy and built on a sustainable farm that uses only
Right.
to generate electricity, whatever. It doesn't have to be that idealist, but they are used with textiles that are more thoughtful. So they can either be dead stock, they can be organic textiles, they can be a mix of both, they can be made with upcycled materials or a mix of both. And so slow fashion is really the intention of making products that the manufacturer or the designer knows they can sell. So our whole shtick is that we make products that we know we can sell instead of making an abundance of products and hoping we sell the majority of it. Fast fashion is what is known in the industry as a push manufacturer, right? So they're
Mhm.
making all they can and they're pushing it out into the world and pushing on people with sales and discounts and constant promotion and an overabundance of encouraging the client to consume as much as possible, right? But slow fashion, we make our pieces in what we call either one piece flow or small batch production, where we're making smaller quantities of items and styles and materials and pieces that we know we can sell. We might have some small overstock of things based on our historicals and our data, but what we're doing is we're making pieces and we're pulling in our clients to buy our pieces instead of pushing it on them, consistently through the typical fashion calendar.
Right. So what do you guys do with your overflow?
We try to do lots of things. We obviously we offer free repairs for all of our garments for all of our clients. So that way, it builds trust with our client that we're making to suit them for as long as possible. We're not trying to sell
Hmm.
them a piece that's going to break down on them. But B, it also gives them the confidence to buy from us again. And so they're buying pieces that they know they're going to last them for as long as possible. And then we also have a buyback program. So we call it our pre-love program, where we've been in business for over 13 years now. We've had clients buying from us since 2010 that, they have pieces maybe they bought whenever they were, before they had their first big girl job. Maybe they bought some pieces from us before they had kids. Maybe they bought pieces from us before they lost weight, and so we have the option for them to bring back those garments. We evaluate them for credit. We give them credit to buy new pieces, and then we resell their pre-loved items at less than half of the retail value, so that we're able to also bring in clientele that maybe can't afford our typical retail prices, but they still want a piece of Yellowcake. Yeah, so then it allows us to keep it circular. It doesn't stay in their closet collecting dust, and it doesn't go to. Sorry, I think my computer keeps having these. Is that my computer? I think it's mine. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
okay.
so that's the way that we can mitigate overstock. But also when we do have overstock, we really try to watch it closely. So if a style or a colorway isn't performing well, then we offer it at a discount, or we offer some bundled items, or we try to we will donate some items when we can. We don't do it often because we don't have a lot to donate sometimes. Usually we can sell most of the things that we make. But in the event we do have an overstock, say we made a really bad decision. Like I made this really poor decision once to order all of this pink and white striped jersey, and it just isn't doing well. I thought it'd be cute, and some people like it, but it's not very popular. And so we may end up donating some of those to Dress for Success or to Laura's Home, which is a women's shelter, So when we can, we'll do that. Or we might alter the item. If it's a long sleeve maxi dress, we might shorten the hem, shorten the sleeves, and then it might do better because it might be more, more accommodating to more clients that way. But yeah, we try really hard to be crafty where we can, to really be resourceful when we're able to, and to only buy the goods when we know we can sell the product.
Gosh, I love that. And the way that you articulate it, you can tell you think things through. I love that. It's very
Yeah.
thoughtful, very intentional. And two things came to mind when you were saying all of that. One, that it's kind of old school, like how people would have their place, they would take their shoes to get mended. If they're, instead of replacing their shoes, they had their neighborhood place that they would take their shoes,
Yeah.
and you guys are kind of reinventing that, bringing it back.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So can
Yeah.
people buy things online from you guys? Do you guys do it that way, or is it all in store?
No, it's both. So we're really trying to do a lot more online, as we grow, because it's definitely more sustainable for us. It'll help us reduce our carbon footprint as well. We do a lot of retail shows all over the country, and that's definitely been a really great way for us to grow our company grassroots style. But e-commerce for us is definitely something we're pursuing heavy this year and next year. So we've always had an online shop, but we're definitely making it easier for our clients to shop with us online, over the next year or so that it's just more approachable. And we have clients everywhere now. We have clients in Chicago, DC, Philadelphia, St. Paul, and we'd love to be able to expand more. And the way we can do that is through e-commerce. So you can shop online, you can shop in studio, you can email us if you're not sure what to buy online. We even do virtual shopping appointments with a lot of our clients too, that they live in Maryland or Chicago, but they like having that one-on-one attention, and they like to know and get their questions answered before they buy online. So we do a lot of that as well. Sometimes we'll even, we do a lot of our, VIP clients in the studio, and we'll have, wine and snacks, and we'll just kind of make it a whole fun, girl.
Yeah.
Right. But then for our virtual clients, what we like to do is, we'll ask them, hey, what's your favorite restaurant? Where do you get your favorite snacks? And so we'll Uber Eats them, some beverages and some snacks. And so they can kind of chill and snack while they're shopping with us virtually.
Oh my
So
gosh, that's
yeah,
amazing. Did things change for you guys much with COVID then, or had you already been doing all of that to start?
I mean, before COVID, we were probably traveling 3 to 5 times a month, doing events on the road, wholesale, retail, direct to consumer, B2B. I mean, we were in New York and Philly and Maryland in 1 month, and then we'd be in Chicago, DC, and St. Paul the next month. And it was good money, but it was exhausting. And it's a lot of work to schlep a bunch of different SKUs and colors and wax, and it's a lot. But COVID, it was scary, but it really forced us to, try to develop a better game plan for online sales. It forced us to communicate with our clients more. It forced us to really consider other techniques and approaches that we hadn't really considered before.
Yeah.
But I think that's typical of small businesses, especially in our creative industry and in the handmade industry. A lot of businesses are afraid to bother their clients, right, too much.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, we're getting emails, by the minute from Apple and Target and Crate and Barrel, and the client that really loves your stuff is going to stick with you, and they're going to be on the lookout for the sales that matter or the information that's important to them. And so I think that really helped us get a better idea of who our client is, what they want, and how we can serve them.
Yeah, that's so great. So what would you say is your demographic? What do you have, all ages, or is it what age women, or do you do men's clothes? I guess I should have asked that too.
Yeah, we used to do menswear and we used to do kidswear too quite a while ago, and I loved it. It was so much fun. But for us, because of our size, it just felt like we were spreading ourselves a little too thin. And our bread and butter is women's wear. And to be honest, at the end of the day, I love kids. I have 2 kids, and I love guys, right? No hate towards men, but I felt like for me personally, women in general, we've not been given our dues, right? We've not had the opportunities that men have had, that our male counterparts have had. And I just felt personally for me, I really wanted our why for our business is the biggest reason why we do what we do is because we want to help women achieve more. And it might sound trite and silly to a lot of people, but what you put on your body is just as important as what you put in your body and in your mind. And the way you dress yourself for the day can seriously affect your productivity. It can affect your confidence, your mindset, your own thinking about your capabilities. I mean, I had a client come to me the other day. I was at a Polish festival of all things. She came up to me amidst the chaos of all the polka going on. And she said, I just want to let you know that I have 3 of your jackets. And every time I wear one of my cardigans into a meeting, I negotiate higher for myself. And I was floored. And I loved hearing that. Like, it literally like feeds my soul, because it shows me that our clothes are doing exactly what we intended them to do. You know, we want women to kick ass in their careers so that they can level up, so they can dominate, so that they can have a seat at the table. And again, it might seem trite to a lot of people, but a simple thing, just as the clothes you put on your body, can really help you achieve that. You know, you go to a new job, you're going to wear your kick-ass power suit, right? You are, you know, starting your first day at work as, you know, as a CEO or as a VP of something that's new to you, you're going to wear something that's going to give you the confidence like you've never had, so that you can, you know, really command the room. And that's what we do. And we do it in a way that I think provides our clients the confidence they need, with the style that they desire, with the comfort that they require to be able to manage their day. You know, most women's workwear is outdated, it's stuffy, it's restrictive, and it's ugly. And it's also fussy. It's hard to, it's silk, it's polyester, it's hard to take care of, you know. And so we try to mitigate that as much as we can by making items that we know our clients can wear to work, they can wear to happy hour, they can wear on vacation, they can wear to a bachelorette party, they can wear to a wedding. Just change up the accessories and your shoes and your makeup and your hair, and you're good to go, you know. And so I think, you know, for women, too many things have been made too difficult for us. You know, they've been either gate kept or they've been complicated unnecessarily. And so we want to make it easy for women to say yes. We want to make it easy for them to get dressed in the morning. And we want them to be focused on the things that are important, not, you know, how low their neckline is or if their panty line is showing, you know?
Right. Yeah, I can tell you're super passionate about it. So you were talking about difficulties. You had mentioned to me before this that you are a woman of color.
Mhm.
How did that make things difficult for you in trying to pursue your goals?
Yeah, you know, I don't know if, I mean, I'm lucky or unlucky, I guess. You know, my dad is from Central America, my mom is Mexican, but my dad is really dark skinned and my mom is very fair skinned. You know, I mean, Mexicans were colonized by a lot of, you know, white conquistadors and invaders, and so it's just natural, right? It's history.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, so I think I can sometimes come across as white passing. And, you know, my parents were really adamant about my sisters and I getting rid of our accents so that we weren't held back in school. So I don't have a super thick, typical, you know, I'm not what people think, I guess, in America of like typical Latin American people, right? I'm not like, it's spicy, you know, like it's just not, I love my culture, right? And I speak Spanish, but I don't want to say I hide it well, but I think people sometimes it's ambiguous, right? So I've been lucky, I guess, in the sense that, you know, maybe some people aren't threatened by me, or they don't assume that I'm, you know, Latin American. And so maybe I've been afforded certain opportunities that other people in my community haven't been. I will say, I think as a woman, and maybe sometimes as a woman of color, I try not to think about it. I always try to assume that maybe this isn't the case, but I think sometimes it is, you know. It's hard to define and it's hard to prove, right?
Right.
But often instances when it comes to funding or it comes to certain situations where I've dealt with mostly white men, where I've noticed certain, you know, opportunities or certain situations not go in the way that I know they typically would or have gone for my male counterparts, right? You know, so for example, like we are currently in the process of moving out of the studio that we're in. And, you know, I've been here for almost 5 years. I've paid my rent on time every month without fail. We pay 3 months in advance most quarters. And you know, even during COVID, we never asked our landlord for a break. He never gave us one. When people were dropping like flies and leaving, we stayed. And you know, I recently bought a building with an investor and another developer this past April, and I was working on it for 2 years. And I informed my landlord of our plans. You know, just I figured it was the right thing to do. But I had a 4-year lease that I was still working through, and I had no intention of defaulting on my lease. I finished the lease, and last year he asked us where our intentions were. I said, you know, we're closing on the building, you know, next April, so we'll probably need another year because it's going to take a year for us to build out and get permits and, you know, so on and so forth. And so he didn't feel comfortable doing that. He wanted to give me a month-to-month lease, and I said, hey, what if we do? You know, I'd rather have a full year, but if you're not comfortable, what do you suggest? So he suggested a 6-month lease, and so I said, okay, sure, as long as we can renew it 6 months. That was the understanding. That was the agreement that I thought we signed. I trusted the guy. I'd been here for 5 years, so I didn't think that's my fault. I didn't think to double check. But he came to us in April and said that we needed to be out in June, which was, you know, last month. And so I was whoa. And so, this was something that came out of the blue, and I tried to negotiate with him. For whatever reason, he wasn't having it, but he said he was not happy about the fact that I was buying a building. And I was really perplexed by this. And, I said, is it because I'm a woman? Like, why would you not want me to have real estate in this neighborhood as well? It's, that was my mission, was to own real estate in a neighborhood that was up and coming. And I knew it was affluent. I knew it was going to be expensive, but the majority of real estate in this neighborhood is owned by rich white men. And there's I've done my research. There's no real estate in this neighborhood that's commercial owned by people of color or owned by a woman.
Hmm.
And so, I said, what's the issue? And he just got really belligerent. He was super offended. He was aghast that I was even implying that he was being somewhat patriarchal and misogynistic. And, I had to shut up really quick, because otherwise I would ruffle his feathers and I would disrupt the agreement we had, and I would lose any chance of being able to negotiate a little bit more time for us to be able to plan a move.
Right.
And it was just the whole thing. And I was really put off, and I was like, why? And people coming into our space after us, they're a younger white couple. And again, it may not have anything to do with race. It may not have anything to do with gender, but it does feel to me, from where I sit, like white people pushing out brown people to put in more white people. But again, I could be wrong. And so I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'm doing my best to make lemonade, and we're doing what we can to move onward and upward. So,
well, congratulations on your new venture, getting a new building. And is it going to be a lot bigger than where you're at?
Yeah. So the building we're in now is huge. It's a giant, 4-story building. It's been here forever. There's about 60 galleries and studios in here, and it's a great space. It's really a hidden gem of Cleveland. But the building that we're going to, it's on the main drag of this neighborhood, so we'll have much better street frontage and visibility. It's an 8,000 square foot building. We haven't really promoted much to any of the local publications here yet that we're even moving or that we even bought the building, because we wanted to make sure that we were careful about triggering, real estate taxes and all that good stuff. But now that we're actually going to build a temporary space in the front of the building for me right now to move into, while the rest of the construction is going on behind me. And then I'll move into my permanent space behind myself once, the construction's done, and we'll get the front space fixed up. But yeah, it's about 8,000 square feet. Our intentions are to have about 8 to 9 other small businesses in there with me. And so it'll kind of be like, like if Etsy and a strip mall had a baby, right? It'll be all small local businesses. The goal for us was to have majority women owned and as many businesses owned by people of color as we possibly could. So right now, I think the stats are 65% of the businesses going in the building are owned by people of color, and 85% of them are owned or co-owned by women.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're going to have a flower shop, a couple of food concepts, a bakery, a coffee shop. We'll have a nail salon. I'll be in there too. And it's going to be a really great mix. These businesses have been tracking with me for about a year and a half, 2 years. And so they've really been loyal and holding out. And we'll hopefully all be able to open fully next spring.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm so happy for you. That's great.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a huge undertaking, and also it stresses me out every other day. And I'm like, what the hell did I just do? But it'll work out. It'll all work out, hopefully.
Why is it called Yellowcake?
So, people ask me that all the time, and there's multiple reasons, but the main reason is that it's a metaphor for the people that we support in our community. And we talked about slow fashion earlier. In fast fashion, the main casualties in the fast fashion industry are women and children, and specifically women of color and children of color, right? And so, Yellowcake is kind of the stepchild of dessert. It's the forgotten favorite. When you look at any menu at any restaurant, it's either death by chocolate, chocolate lover's cake, molten lava chocolate cake. There's no yellow cake on any menu. You'll see panna cotta and olive oil cake. So, we just really believe that what we're doing with our business is trying to move women forward, and not just women, but people of color and those who are often forgotten and overlooked. And so we're trying to do that by serving women and by providing opportunities for women. And, just people always say, oh, women empowerment. And yeah, I guess you could call it that. But for me personally, I prefer the word empowerment notates that power is being given to someone that didn't have it. Right. But for us, we really prefer the word embolden, because what we're doing is we're just providing the tools to our clients and to the people that work with us. We're providing them the tools to embolden themselves, because it sounds really woo woo and it sounds super cheesy. It sounds like a bumper sticker or something you'd hear at a women's conference. But we really believe that women have the power and the wherewithal within themselves to to empower themselves. They don't need someone else to give them that power.
Right.
Have it. They just need the tools and the confidence to unlock it and really go for it. And so we really prefer to use the word embolden. It fits better, it makes more sense, and it doesn't take away from the woman that's receiving, to say
Right.
the whole women empowerment movement kind of just miffs me a little bit. It kind of like irks me. It drives me nuts because it's a buzzword that people have glommed onto, and it really doesn't mean what people think it means.
Right. Yeah. Everybody interprets it different, I think.
Right.
So clearly you're passionate about what you're doing, and you've got a lot of balls in the air for what all you're trying to get accomplished here.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that you do have some kids. So how do you find that work-life balance? How do you do it?
I don't think I'm doing it yet. The work-life balance, a lot of people say that it doesn't exist, and some people say that it does. And I'm kind of in the middle. I try really hard to be a realist, but sometimes I find myself trying to be a purist, and I don't think I found the balance yet. But I'm definitely working my ass off to try to find some kind of system that works for me. I have ADHD, and I was just diagnosed a couple of years ago, but I've always struggled with focusing and efficiency and being on time and sticking to one task. It's always something that's been an Achilles heel for me. But I've recently, I've got a really great business coach now, and I've got I'm so busy that I can't afford to be inefficient. So like sometimes I have to be. But I've also got this really great planner that I started using. It's called the Full Focus Planner. It's by Michael Hyatt, and he's I don't get paid to say this. I just really love this planner. I've not found one that I liked that really worked for me before. But what I like about it is that the concept is so simple. It's a lot of entrepreneurs, especially those with ADHD, they do too much, and we often overestimate what we can do in a year, or we often overestimate what we can do in a day, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. And so, a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, have these laundry lists of things we want to do in one day, and then we end up not doing even half of it or even a fraction of it, and we feel guilty. And then we end up overworking ourselves, and then we don't end up giving ourselves the rest we need to be able to do the work we need to get done properly. So that's something that I'm really having to untrain myself on. Like I've always been a workaholic, and I've always liked working, but that doesn't mean just because you can, you should.
Right.
So yeah,
I've done a few podcasts with people that deal exclusively with the brain, and they say that our brains were not meant to multitask, especially at the level that a lot of people are trying. So try not to be too hard on yourself. Your brain is doing its best.
Yeah, exactly. I know, that's the thing. I think there's something hardwired in us to think that, like, when we're multitasking, we're winning. Like, I don't know what it is, but I get some kind of like weird satisfaction when I can watch a show while I'm folding laundry, and I'm like, see, I did it, Jason. My husband's a project manager, and he was like, you cannot multitask. It's scientifically proven that you're hurting yourself by trying to multitask. And I'm like, whatever, I can eat lunch and talk to a friend. that counts.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it can get overwhelming, though. You just have to take some steps back, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this to myself. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So promote yourself. Tell people where they can find your shop and your, websites, all that good stuff.
Sure. Yeah. The easiest way to find us is at yellowcakeshop.com. It's spelled just like it sounds, just the dessert yellow cake with the American spelling of shop, SHOP. So yellowcakeshop.com. And if you if you prefer social media, you can find us on Instagram at Yellowcake Shop. That's our handle, all one word. On Facebook, we're at Yellowcake Shop Cle. That's CLE for Cleveland. And you can pretty much find us anywhere and everywhere online. You may, if you type in Yellowcake Shop, you might find the description or definition for uranium and sulfur, which was the code word in the 70s in Vietnam for yellowcake. I get that a lot from older men at events that we're at, and they saunter up and they're like, "Do you know what yellow cake means?"
Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh, we know. So anyway, so that's where they can find us. And we're here in Cleveland on the west side in Gordon Square. We are moving to our new building, so we'll be there by next month, probably by between August 7th and 15th. We'll be at the new space, and we'll still be in the neighborhood. We'll be on Detroit Road, not far from where we are currently. So we'll still be around.
Awesome. Valerie, it was so nice to talk to you. I am so excited for you and your future. It sounds amazing what you're doing.
Yeah, this was great. I love talking with you too. You're a natural. You're a great host.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Well, I will put everything in the show notes so people know where to find you, and I will be in touch.
Awesome. Thanks, Don. It was a pleasure.
You bet. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.